Okay, everyone, good evening. Thanks for attending a special show of the Growth Hour tonight. We have one of our celebrities. You know, everybody have their celebrities, and we have one of our celebrities with us tonight. And the show is going to be centered around our celebrity, Mr. Dwayne Brooks. You have heard us advocate for him for months, many months, um, years, or however you would like to classify it. And we have been, blessed by the Creator, giving him a new trial. I do not want to steal any of his thunder, so I'm not going to get into, um, you know, I'm not going to speak. I'm going to allow him to speak, so you can hear directly from him. 35 years. I'm sure there's a lot of wisdom that's going to come from this gentleman. You know, over the times of speaking with him, we know he's extremely intelligent and has a lot to give back. And hopefully we can get him to start giving some today. However, before we actually start, I want to remind everybody that on May the 6th, we will have Bridging the Community event. I'm going to pass this over to Lisa Riley, the person that put it together, so she can give you the updates on it, and then we're going to get right into the show. Ms. Riley.
Thank you. So May 6th from 1 to 4, it's called Bridging the Community in Canton, Ohio. It's a free event. Everyone is welcome to come out. I can't give you the address right here, but if you need a flyer, inbox me. I'll send you the flyer. It has all the information on there. This is a family, kid-friendly event. It's also free. I can't say that enough. So come out, meet me, and just about everybody on the panel will be there, and so many other people. So now I'm rambling. So with that, I'm going to give it back to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to say that before we get started, I wanted to, as I always do, I want to acknowledge the Brooks family, the Robinson family, and everyone for sticking in the fight for Dwayne for the extensive amount of years, the decades that they have done it. As we know, a lot of families don't last that long. Unfortunately, they may mean well, but as the ship sails, sometimes people fall off the ship, or as the wagon rolls, sometimes people fall off the wagon. They get tired and say, hey, I'm gonna, get off here. Gratefully, it didn't happen with this family. And as a result, we have Mr. Dwayne Brooks here. Also, I want to give my kudos and shout out to Mr. Dwayne Brooks for giving us the opportunity to be able to assist him in this fight that he's doing. That may be small to some, but it's huge for myself and individuals that have been on this fight, because you don't have a lot of people like Mr. Brooks that's going to continue to fight for all these years. There's many people that decide that, hey, I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of getting the denials. There's no use, and they give up. This gentleman didn't do that. And for that, we commend you. We respect you. We love you. We honor you, and lift you up, brother, because you did some things that, as you know, a great percentage of the people didn't do, and in the end, it paid off. With no further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Dwayne Brooks and allow him to bless us with the knowledge he has. Good evening, Mr. Brooks. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate all of you guys. Like I said earlier, well, before the show started, a small spark can go a long way. And Lisa was the first one to bring any attention to what was going on with me. And then I met you and El Amin, and I just met Carlos Parks. I've heard his name from almost the very beginning when people started paying attention to what was going on with me. And Miss Joy Elaine, who's overseas, and it's just amazing, and it's overwhelming that total strangers, along with the few people that I still had in my family, took up the fight for me. Total strangers. And that's golden to me. And that's why I feel like all of you are my family. We don't got to be related by blood to be family, but we're family to me. And I mean that. And I thank you guys, and I appreciate everything you've done, even the things that I don't know that you've done. I'm still not really acclimated with all of this YouTube, social media stuff, but I'm learning. I'm learning. And you said something earlier, like that you go in a room like you used to go in your cell and turn the lights out so you could think. Well, I understood exactly what you were saying, and I used that tactic to go in the cell, turn the lights out so I could cry. Because I didn't want it to be a fight because somebody saw me crying. So I wasn't crying because I was soft, I was crying because I was hurting. And although I was on, tears when no tears should ever fall, they needed to come out. And I got an ocean in my eyes, man. The things that they did to me, and they did it so easy, so I know they do it to others, and the things that they did to me are criminal. And people need to know that these prosecutors, judges, and defense attorneys who are supposed to be defending you, but in actuality, they just serve you up. They're committing crimes against the people of this country. This is a crime that was done to me. I went to trial. I was taken to trial, facing the death penalty with no evidence against me. Just one individual who is the true culprit putting his weight on me, putting me in the picture. I wasn't there. I didn't have nothing to do. I don't even know none of them people. And with no evidence, they took me to trial facing the death penalty. And James, Mr. Jones, I don't know what it was in me, but I didn't flinch. I didn't want to be on death row and be put to death in 20 to 22 years, but I didn't do anything, so I couldn't take a deal. It was just impossible for me to even consider a deal. So, I, not knowing anything about the law, the only thing I knew about the law is what I saw on TV, Perry Mason and shows like that. I knew I had the right to remain silent, and that's what I did. But even when I was afforded attorneys, they didn't work for me. They worked for the court, which is who they're obligated to first. But being that they were assigned attorneys, I mean, it was an atrocious, is that the right word? Atrocious thing that they did to me. Once they seen I was green and didn't know anything about the law, they ran circles around me. They ran circles around my family. They took me to trial, kept my family out the courtroom so they couldn't see what was going on. And when I was telling people what they were doing in that courtroom, it was unbelievable to them. It was unbelievable to me, and I was experiencing it. I was seeing it with my own eyes and hearing it with my own ears, and I couldn't believe it. All of this is public record. I screamed for 33 and a half years before we found the evidence. Before, it was a shot in the dark, but it was all, meant to be. This is all what our creator designed it to be. I wrote every organization. I say this every time because people need to know that those organizations, man, they're not who they say they are. Every organization, NAACP, ACLU. ACLU is supposed to be a human rights organization. This was a human rights issue. And they hit me with a form letter like, yo, sorry, we don't do that. Innocence Project, you know, all the law schools, all the TV shows. I wrote the Supreme Court of the United States twice and asked them, how can they allow an innocent man to be in prison? How can they allow the conviction to stand? I wrote the Prince of Saudi Arabia, just trying to get some assistance. Anybody just to look into my case, just look at it. Just look at it. Because if you just looked at it, you would have saw what they did to me. Nobody would even look at it. Nobody. And if somebody had looked at it, if somebody
the sad thing about that, Mr. Brooks, is this. I think that I think that your situation kind of reminds me of the Emmett Till situation. And people don't tend to look at things until it directly affects them. Emmett Till mother, there was a situation that happened before Emmett Till's actual tragedy happened. And some people went to his mother and told her, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that because of the situation that was happening. And she said, that ain't none of our business. It's not our business. And then when it happened to Emmett Till, her whole perspective, her whole outlook and everything changed. So I'm saying that to say that your situation is similar. You know, people don't look at things or take heed to things until they're in it and it's too late. Because when you're in it, it's too late. Because they're not slowing down the pace for you to educate yourself to be able to properly fight. You know, so definitely they needed to hear what you're saying, brother. You know, I just wanted to say that you know, that doesn't affect them until they end it. So when you're saying you write a lot of people, NAACP, you know, we've been telling them for a while that organization is nothing. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to let you continue. NAACP came to me when I started the Reinvention Center, and they wanted me to start a reentry section in the NAACP. And I would have gotten to choose my own staff. And we could have did whatever we want to do, raise money, have events and all that. However, it would have had to been under the umbrella of the NAACP. So any money we raised didn't go to the reentry part that we created. It's going to go to the NAACP. Then they make a determination of how the funds was going to be allocated. So if they said we didn't want to help the reentry, we didn't want to do this, there's nothing I can do about that. The kicker to that also was they wanted myself and the members of the board that created the reentry board or whatever it was they wanted to create to pay membership dues. You know, so I'm saying, are you crazy? So of course I'm not a part of the NAACP. I have very little faith in those organizations, you know, and that's part of the reason why a lot of us that's on here started the organizations that we started, because we all went through what you went through. But I want you to continue that. Mr. Hayes, you got your hand up. You want to say something real quick?
Yeah, just backing up what you said about the NAACP. I was a part of it in Lewisburg, and their whole thing is money. It's all about money. They want money, money, money. This is why they're like when civil rights things happen, they're like ambulance chasers to civil rights issues. So they're sending Crump down there, and this whole thing is to raise money for the NAACP. And I remember when the crack riots happened, how they was torturing us. I was going through that with y'all last night when I was at your home. And it wasn't just me, it was several of us that was tortured in behind the crack riots. But what happened, we contacted a lot of the agencies. And I'm talking about all the agencies, from the Nation of Islam, everybody, right? We contacted everybody. And all they kept saying is that we don't do criminal cases, we only do civil cases. We all know once your criminal case is done, it automatically turns civil. And what we was asking for, we wasn't asking for you to overturn our conviction, and we rolled back and explained it. We want our human rights to be recognized, that we are humans, although we have done something wrong, we've been convicted of a crime, is that these people is literally torturing us in here. And nobody done nothing but the ACLU did step in and change our situation somewhat for the better. That was the only organizations. Now you saying them, maybe they did get worse. I'm not questioning that. But what I'm saying is most organizations is a disgusting and pathetic joke. I would not donate one nickel, one dime, or any of my time, any of them. That's what I have to say. Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
I'm gonna ask you a question, Mr. Brooks, but I want to say this to you. You spent 35 years in prison. Don't filter nothing. Give it to us the way you want to give it to us. You know, give it to us the way you feel is necessary for people to receive the message. You know, and I just want to put that out there. You know, what is your opinion of the of this so-called judicial system?
Wow. The injustice system you're talking about?
You can cuss, you can do whatever you want to do, brother. We want you to go ahead.
The injustice system is a system designed to keep the lower caste in check and to make money. That's all it's designed for. And being that they consider a certain segment of the population, the lower caste, we're fodder for their cannons. That's how minuscule our worth is to them. Fodder. And the Black Lives Matter campaign got going, and I understood that and I felt it, and they countered with all lives matter. And I knew right then and there, I said, you know what? It should have been Black Lives Matter also, or Black Lives Matter too. Where you gonna go from there? We already know all those other lives matter. You make us know that. You know, it's a superiority complex going on in this country that's infected people for hundreds of years now. And they still look at us as chattel. We're not, you know, human to them. All this race stuff, you know, and I wrote about this on the Facebook thing, the Diamonds from the Dungeon. All this race stuff is made up. There's one race of people. And in that race, there's different ethnicities, but there's one race of people. You might be German, you might be Russian, you might be Serbian, you might be Polish, you might be Nigerian, you might be Kenyan, or what have you, and on and on and on. But this race stuff, you know, it only happens here. And maybe the UK. I can't speak for the UK, but I know it only happens here and maybe the UK. When you come to America, the United States, you have to be either white, black, or other. You have to check boxes, and nobody's white and nobody's black. But this is what they did to make this caste system, to rank people, and black being the lowest caste. And this is why we're done like this from 1619, 1620. And even the so-called white people that was coming over, they didn't know nothing about being white. Like I said, they were, you know, Polish, Russian, Serbian, German, or what have you. But when they got over here, they had to check a box. You had to check a box to say that they were white so they could get all the privileges and rights that was afforded whites in this country, and not to be considered the lower caste, black, who had no rights and never were meant to have any rights. And this is why this type of stuff is happening. And people need to know It's easy for them. They did this to me easy. I mean, I can't stress to you how easy it was for them to do this to me. They put on the show 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, going to trial, but it was easy for them. It was just a formality. Oh yeah, we're sinking him. Yeah, he's going down. Another nigga up on the galley. Oh, he looked at a white woman. I ain't even seen that white woman. What white woman you talking about? Oh, don't worry about it, nigga. You going up on this galley, you putting this rope around your neck, and we're gonna drop the floor on you. The whole time I'm screaming, I never looked at the white woman. They don't want to hear that. It's already decided.
I have no other options.
Any comments?
Oh, without a doubt, I got a comment, right? Because what you just said, right? You were Emmett Till, man. You were Emmett Till. You were Emmett Till, man. That's all you were. You were Emmett Till, right? But how many times have we had Emmett Tills, right? That's exactly what you are. What you describing, how easy it was for them. Look at what they did. Like I know a guy in North Carolina who was castrated by an angry mob of white people. And because he supposedly raped a white woman. Then they found out that he didn't do it. You know what the state of North Carolina did? They bought him a house. They pledged to take care of him for the rest of his life. He had a drive and everything, but he never had his manhood back. You can't replace that. He was castrated. This was in Goldsboro, North Carolina. Man was castrated for supposedly raping a white woman, and then they found out he didn't do it. In the state, they decided to take care of him for the rest of his life. So like this happens. It's easy, man. It's easy. Like you say, it's easy, which is why we need program. We need organizations like what's the doctor's name, James? We need that court watch. We need that. It's imperative.
Dr. Carmen Johnson.
Dr. Carmen Johnson, man. It's imperative, right? Because we need eyes in the courtroom. It's harder for them to do it when we have eyes in the courtroom, when they have a system of auditing, right? Like with my company, they can just come in at any moment and audit my books and make sure that I'm doing everything, everything is in alignment. Why aren't judges audited? Why aren't these prosecuting attorneys audited? Why you know what I'm saying? Like, it should be, we need to put up something to keep them in line, because they just basically run everything in our judicial system, right? It's crazy. But yeah, you're Emmett Till, man. That's how I see it.
Mr. Hayes, thank you.
There's a book called Man, Child in the Promised Land. And in the book, written by a guy named Claude Brown, he gets describing what it was like growing up in New York City and being a troublemaker and being a troubled youth in his time. And he talks about how he went to court one day, and he talks about when he was down south and how going to court reminded him of when they had a pig, and the pig was in the yard, and everybody was standing around the yard together. They was all in unison together, and they was playing with the pig, and the pig playing, and the pig is happy, and they feeding the pig, and the pig don't know what's happening, but everybody else is friends. But this pig don't know that they're about to bust him upside his head and kill him and eat him tonight. And that's what that court system is like. Because when you walk in there, it's almost like you became that animal. Because the prosecutors is buddies with the judge is buddies with whoever the lawyer is, your lawyer's his buddy with the prosecutor, and everybody's smiling, the clerk, everybody's smiling, and they getting ready to do you, just like that example I just gave about Man, Child, and Promised Land. And that's what Claude Brown had explained, and that's what it reminded him of being in court that day with his dad. And that's pretty much, it said, a standard procedure. And there is a few recommendations regarding that court watch. That is something that needs to happen. Regarding the judge's situation about them being audited, they can be audited, and they should be audited, and they can be relieved of their duty. One time we had a judge here in New York named Judge Bears, and he arrested some guys had some drugs in the car. The cops didn't know they had drugs in the car. But anyway, when the guys seen them, they took off and started running. It was a 10, 15 keys. Make a long story short, they says they have an arraignment, they bring the guys to court, and the guy said, why you took off and start running? They said, because we see two white guys in Harlem. You know, this is in the early 80s. So yeah, we didn't know what was going on. We took off, started running. And Judge Baird said, well, shoot, if I seen two white guys running after me in Harlem, I'd have took off and started running too. Dismissed the case and threw it out. What they then did because of that is they ended up removing him where he couldn't hear no more criminal cases because he was fair, because they didn't have no due process to even arrest these guys. Right. So the same way you can remove this guy for being fair, y'all can put and assign him the cases that don't have, no criminal element to it. It's the same way you can remove these corrupt judges and prosecutors and let them do civil cases. Let them do civil cases. So yeah, that's definitely doable. Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
Now I wanted to ask Mr. Brooks if he had a message to give people of the world about being careful with this criminal justice system, or making them aware of this injustice system. And I'm going to adopt your words. What would you tell them? Man, and I asked you that because, as you said, it was easy for them to take you through this for 34 years, and it's 35 years, and it's not done yet. We hoping it'll be done within the next 60 days and wrapped up, but it's not done yet. I want you to know that last week we had a show about Dwayne Brooks, and we were saying in the parole board, and my question was this: Dwayne Brooks is innocent. So how was the parole board be able to justify? How were they able to justify denying you for parole all those times, even though you was innocent? So that's like saying a person that has never committed a crime is not fit to be on the street. So that was the show that we had last week. So people got to understand. They put their self in these people's hands, their lives in these people's hands, and they make decisions for you and for your generations and generations of your family. So what would be your message to the people regarding or message you would give the people regarding being careful of being involved in the system?
Being careful?
Yes, sir. About not getting involved in the system.
I advise the people, and especially people of color, to do everything in their power not to ever get caught up in this injustice system. I went to the parole board 4 different times, innocent of the crime that I'm convicted of, and each time they gave me more time. Now, when you go to the parole board, people got to understand, you have served your time. You have paid your debt to society. The judge knew when he sentenced you to this sentence that at a certain time, when you are seen by the parole board, that you should get a parole, or you could get a parole. So the first time I went, they gave me 10 years, 10 added years. My family was so devastated. I had to write them and ask them, like, what in tarnations justify you giving me 10 more years? Of course, I got a real sarcastic response, like, everything you write to us will be taken into account at your next hearing. This is what they tell me. Second time I went, they gave me 4 years, 4 more years. Nature of the crime. Nature of the crime, twice. The third time I went, they gave me 5 years. Nature of the crime. He doesn't exhibit remorse. The fourth time I went, they gave me 5 more years again. Nature of the crime. He doesn't exhibit remorse. Each time they ask me, after going through the trial, because those were actually 4 more trials that I was put on. So at the end of the trial, each time they ask me, did you do it? Just say you did it. You got 27 years in. Just say you did it. You got 32 and a half years in. So, you know, for me, the hardest thing, or one of the hardest things, one of the most difficult things that I could do was lie on myself. These people wanted me to lie on myself. And because I wouldn't do it, I was served severely. Each time deserving a parole. Each time. I'm taking them community service hours. I'm doing community service for the battered women's shelter, Stuck the Bus, all the little things, the homeless shelter. And I got 50 or 49 completed programs. I'm well versed. I'm balling on the good side in prison. I got jobs where I'm doing clerk work. I'm actually doing their audits and ACA standards so they could pass these inspections. This is the level of trust that the captors had with me.
But you weren't fit to be in society.
But I wasn't fit to be in society.
But you were fit to handle their affairs inside the prison.
Yes. On top of that.
So now if you would admit it, if you would have said, not admit it because you're innocent, if you would have said, just lied and said, hey, I did it, what would you be able to have reached the point where you are right now with a new trial? And how would it have hurt you?
No. If they had given me a parole, any of those times that I went to the parole board, we would have never found this evidence. So in that instance, I'm thankful to them for being the criminal organization that they are and for operating like they operate. Good looking out. It was hard doing those extra years, but the truth came out, and I would have never found the truth, if they had given me parole any of those times. So now, whatever happens from here, when these charges are dismissed, inshallah, and soon, liability falls at their doorstep because they refused to do what they were commissioned to do. They were commissioned to give paroles. They wasn't commissioned to be the resentencing board. They're the parole board. It's in their title. The parole board. When you go to the parole board, if you haven't done anything in prison to say to give you more time, they're supposed to give you a parole. That's what they were commissioned to do. But instead, they changed their job description to be the resentencing board. And they want their pound of flesh every time and as many times as they see you. So now, 5 years from the time I get this time, it's going to be 1 or 2 or 3 new members on the parole board. They want their pound of flesh too. And then you got the old cancerous parole board members on there. That's going to infect them. Even if they did come into it bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like, you know, wanting to do the right thing, they're going to get infected by this cancer that's on you know, sitting on the parole board for all of these years, making $100,000 a year with full benefits to commit crimes. And my message is this: we have to stop, quit, cease rewarding bad behavior. It's crazy that we as a people continue to reward bad behavior. If a prosecutor is in office, head prosecutor or whoever it is, and he has wrongful convictions on his record, there's no way he should be running for mayor. And when? There's no way he should be running for governor. And when? Congressman, senator. We just keep rewarding bad behavior, voting them in. We have to quit this. They got the people believing that they have no power. People in this country are so downtrodden, beaten down, that they believe they don't have no power. That's the biggest trick. And this is why these type of injustices continue to happen. They had me in a county in Ohio where like 5 or 6 families have been running the county for 50 years or more. They're all intertwined. They're judges, they're prosecutors, they're appeals courts judges. So when my case goes up to the appeals court, like say for instance, me and Mr. Jones are related, I'm just telling, hey bro, when Aisha's case comes up there, yeah, you know, down that. All the lawyers that you know, me and my family hired, scraping up money over the years. As soon as when they take the case, oh, you shouldn't have been in prison. Oh, I'm gonna get you out of there. Boom, boom, boom. Then all of them run into a brick wall and do a 180. Now I can't even catch them on the phone. They ain't giving no money back because they run into that same brick wall because my father's red flag. They telling them don't do nothing for this man. We trying to bury this man alive and hope the conditions of the prison do what they're designed to do and kill him. Whether they kill me dead physically or kill my mind. Because it's people going in prison going crazy every day. They lose all humanity. They lose all their morality. A lot of them lose their manhood. It's just a system of design to dehumanize and degrade people. And we just keep on allowing this to happen. Us as a people, us as American citizens. And like you said, Mrs. Till, it hadn't happened to her, so she didn't want to get involved at first. So when people were rolling around acting like, oh, it don't have nothing to do with me, it does. Everything that happens to any person in this country can possibly affect every person in this country.
Let me ask you this, because one of the viewers on Facebook is asking the question, and I wanted to propose this question to you and Aisha. The question is, how did it affect your family, you being gone for so long?
Well, my sister right here was 11 years old. She had no ability as a child to understand what was going on with her big brother. And I'm not only her big brother, I raised her. This is my baby. She came home from the hospital. She was mine. My mother helped me with her baby. So she didn't have the ability. She's a child. She couldn't understand what was going on. And most of my family fell off. The narrative was Dwayne is never getting out. I was a lost cause. It aged and crippled my mother. It aged and crippled my father. You know, it gave the people that did love me, really, really loved me in my family, such a sense of hopelessness. You know, the damages are unmeasurable, what it did to my family. It's unmeasurable. You can't measure it. And then all the people I lost, you know, I'm still having trouble with that right now today. I've been out 5 or 6 days, 5 days. I got out Tuesday. And I'm looking at pictures of my relatives that I love dearly. My big brother, he's gone. He's no longer here. I don't know life without him. You know, and on and on and on. My grandparents on both sides, my uncles. I'm down to one last surviving uncle and one last surviving aunt. My mother had 10 siblings. Only one of them was deceased when I came to prison. I mean, the damage is tremendous. And you know, not to change the subject, but I gotta say this, you know, people see me, people that didn't rock with me the whole time, and the first thing out of their mouths is, oh, they gotta pay you. No, they gotta pay you. As if some goddamn money was enough to take my life for 35 years. $35 years, putting me in conditions that no human should be in. Being around asbestos. I was telling my family last night, I've been around asbestos for every day. Black mold. People with AIDS. People with hepatitis. Cooking the food. Food was terrible anyway. I wasn't eating that. And it's crazy because you die quicker from the food that they serve you in the kitchen than the food that they sell you on commissary. Conditions that I should have never seen. I should have never heard certain things. I should have never heard a man being raped. Screaming. COs, guards, whatever you call them, they hear it too, till they stop screaming. They brought up at my trial a speeding ticket that I got in Woodmere, New York in 1988. As if, because I got this speeding ticket, I had to be guilty of murder.
That was the best thing.
That's a big stretch, ain't it?
That's about the only thing
Yeah.
they had on him, in the sense that, like, he wasn't a criminal then. And other than what they fabricated, right? That was the only thing that they would be able to find in a record of some sort. I'll just say, you know, like he said, with him going away, and he definitely was my caretaker, my confidant, my provider, my friend in so many ways. Losing him for me as his sister, I mean, it broke me. It caused me to definitely go dark. And that is something that I carried throughout my whole life. From, I think I might have been 11. I just maybe turned 11 when Dwayne was
11.
actually convicted, and not really being able to understand the magnitude of what was actually happening. But in that, I lost my mother, I lost my brother, I lost my mother as well, because my mother was never the same
Suffering.
after that happened. I could remember, I think I was probably like sixth grade, and I remember my sixth grade teacher, God bless her, ended up calling up meeting with my family because I just wasn't right in school, and it wasn't something that I would talk about. And it became an issue on how it played out in school. And then it just changed me into the type of person where I never wanted to have that type of meeting ever again about, or have something negative come about. And so out of trauma, right, I became an overachiever, complete excellence from here on out, because I didn't ever want, right, to be exposed in that kind of way, or have someone think that something was going on. But a lot of it was a facade. I played sports, I played instruments. I mean, I did so many extracurricular things because I didn't want to go home, one, but I wanted to overachieve. If I'm excelling and winning over here, maybe the people will look over here at this achievement.
She distancing herself from this embarrassment of having her brother in prison.
That was another part of it as well, but it changed me in a way where it was like I was putting on a face, right? I wanted you to see what was going on here so that you wouldn't recognize what was actually going on here.
Right.
And it was like never, I walked such a line. Growing up, it manifested into relationships and friendships. No one could ever be close enough to me
Tell them about what you told your friends
to where I could
when
lose
she was in
them,
high school.
right? To where
She told her friends that I was in college. Because it hurt her so much to have her brother in prison.
Yeah. And then fast forward again, like just distancing, it caused me to be very closed off to people. I, suffer with abandonment type issues, and he didn't necessarily abandon me in that way. But again, I felt very alone. Family members around who, maybe had lost hope or couldn't understand. It put a distance to some extent with some of my other family members as well. Just continuing to grow and doing different things, graduating and just different life events that are supposed to be happy, right? I've had some great moments in life. However, there was always this cloud. Anything that I ever did that brought me joy, it still wasn't a complete joy because I'm tied to him and he's not here to experience these things. And so it definitely affected me in that way. It affected joy, it affected happiness, it affected any moment, that was supposed to be a good moment. There's still a cloud or a shadow over it. And then, like, I have my son on this line. Have met Drew is 24 years old right now. So for him, he has always known his uncle
in prison,
but only in prison. And there's so many things that he didn't get. A lot of the wisdom, a lot of the things that could have been, a lot of things got imparted in him from his uncle, but there's a lot of things that he missed. A lot of time that he missed. Dwayne has children. It caused me to try to overcompensate with those children in ways. I wanted to keep them close to me. I wanted them to to just hold on to. I mean, there's just so many ways that a family gets affected by something like this, by these wrongful convictions, by these, these court systems, injustice system, just really taking our lives. And I can't tell you how many times it, the disappointment of failed appeals, dismissed appeals, parole board hearings that, we get there and it's like, yes, this has gotta be it. This has gotta be it, only to be let down time and time and time and time again. It's it's not even, there's not even a word that I could use to describe how it affected me. I mean, like holidays truly have meant nothing to me. Everyone's like Christmas, 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 or Thanksgiving or whatever it may be as a holiday, but for me, it's like I equate this to my oldest brother is deceased. But for me, Dwayne died every day. Every day that he wasn't home was like he died again today. And it stayed fresh. At least my brother that we buried, we put in the ground, and I can rationalize this. But this ongoing hanging on type of situation feels like death every day. And it's a hurting thing. It's a hurt that I can't even describe.
There's a question for Drew. If you don't mind, the gentleman would like to know. Let me get back to the question. How did you handle it? I'm gonna read it exactly how it's written on Facebook. How did he handle the situation with your uncle being in prison and you only knowing him from prison?
I try to stay strong. From what I remember, like especially, my mom said, that's kind of the only way I knew him until like these last couple of days. So seeing how, it affected my grandmother walking, taking a long walk back to the visitation room, getting our IDs and stuff like that, seeing how my mom would act, shaking up, crying. I just tried to stay strong. And I didn't really necessarily I really wasn't even too much interested as a kid because there was only so much I didn't want to know, or I just didn't understand. And I remember the last two appeals, I want to say it's 2014, 2015, I was starting high school, and I remember I had a right to the parole board. And then getting that denial, I kind of remember like I got a little it affected. That's when I think I could say it really truly, like I felt that one a little bit. And then I started asking questions like, like what's really going on. And then I slowly but surely I got the truth. And then going through the last one in 2020, that one felt like even more of a heartbreak because, we were ready. We felt out all the requirements and we felt like we were just once again being robbed, we felt like once again being robbed. But oh man, I just tried to be strong. Knowing what everything was going on, everything that was transpiring, the aftermath, like everybody, I just tried to stay strong. And I try to keep everything light, He didn't really tell us what was really going on in his day to day. He always tried to, what's going on with us, tell me what your day is like. He tried to be that, he never complained. I could say he never really complained, And for somebody who had all the reasons to, he didn't really complain. He was just more so invested. Those 15-minute calls, felt like 5 minutes, but he was just so much invested in what I got going on and where my headspace was at. And that's how we kind of communicated, because everything is monitored, so he couldn't tell me everything over the phone, so we kind of had to make it up in the visits a little bit. But you know, just the messages he would just, just try to translate to me, about having friends. The friends is the biggest one. I learned that early. I was a little bit more of a social butterfly when I was a kid, and in my younger days. So where now I don't even like being bothered with people like that. I don't, because I just know, you could just be at the wrong spot, the wrong time, anything could pop off. And he to me was a living example of that. Had nothing to do with nothing. He was just literally at the wrong place at the wrong time. And look what happened in the injustice system. So that's just little things like that. He'll try to just drop jewels and little gems on me like that. So I'll just put it in the back of my mind. He doesn't think I remember those things like that. He says I got a bad memory, but those little things like that, I always kept in my back end and just kept it moving, like how I move today.
I definitely appreciate you. I have a question. I already know the answer, because I didn't experience what he experienced, but I'm just going to give it to you bluntly. The politically correct question to ask is, Dwayne, what is your next move? However, I'm going to be honest with you. How the hell are you supposed to just move as normal after experiencing what you're experiencing, your family experiencing what you're experiencing? How the hell are they expecting you to just come out here and just, hey, okay, give an answer. Well, I'm going to open up a nonprofit. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get this. Come on, let's be realistic. That's bullshit. You got some, we got a whole lot of things that we got to work on before we get to that. Not saying that you're not mentally capable or emotionally or intellectually ready to do it. It's just a lot of things as you are hearing that you experience, your family experience, that has to be mended. There's a whole lot of realizations that have to be come to grips with. Like you said, there's a lot of family members, a lot of people that's not there no more. It's a whole lot of processing that you have to do. And again, I know on a lot of times when you are going to be interviewed, you're going to be asked this question. So what's the next thing for Dwayne Brooks? And I'm asking it because they're saying it, but what the hell? How the hell can I expect you to just come out and just do what the world thinks you should do? Go ahead, sir. Think you ready for this one?
Well, the short answer is this, and I'm going to go to the long answer too, but the short answer is this. I'm about to do whatever I want to do. Whatever I want to do. The long answer is one step at a time. I'm getting this ankle monitor off as soon as possible. I'm getting these charges dropped as soon as possible. And then I'm telling you people, man, stay tuned, because I'm not just going to be another voice in a sea of voices out here. I got to make change. I know what my calling is, or one of my callings, and that's to help people. And not only to help people, to make people know that there's help out there for them. Because when you know that you can get your kids fed, when you know that you can get your kids clothed, you ain't got to go get on that stripper pole. You ain't got to do nothing illegal. You can work that job and build a future, because there's help out there. Just people knowing that there's help will change their lives. And this is what I got to do, man. I got to do that, and I have to shed light and make people aware of what's really going on in this injustice system.
Just to kind of piggyback on that, I will say, my answer to what do they expect him to come out here and do, right? Is they don't care. They really don't care. They don't care if he's okay. They don't care if he has any support. They don't care. As a matter of fact, they probably hope that he, right, will be one of the statistics for recidivism.
Recidivism. I didn't rescind in the first place.
Well, I'm saying those numbers, because those numbers are very skewed, right?
No, but I'm saying recidivism,
I
that
mean,
means
you commit
commit
another crime, and we know you haven't committed any crime, but what I'm saying is that you'll be back in some kind of way. And then they'll be able to say, see, we told you, whatever, whatever, right? I feel like, even in his release, and having the overturned conviction and how everything is kind of handled with zero sense of urgency. Many of you sat here and you heard me talk about November 4th and what that looked like and what that felt like. And truth be told, Dwayne should have been home since November 4th, right? But they moved through their calendar and made sure that they scheduled time for their holidays. And they made sure that they scheduled time for their new year. And our holiday, our new year, or the fact that this man had just served 35, 34 years at that point, may will be a full 35 years, was never really considered. I mean, they moved through that calendar like they were scheduling a lunch. No sense of urgency. And even this time coming back, we went through some issues where it took some time and some push on his part to even get him removed from state penitentiary. Here he is with a ruling in his favor and still sitting at a state penitentiary. And then there's no consideration for what that looks like and what that feels like and the type of danger that me as a family, as his loved one, is worried about, right? Because the reality is, if somebody knows that you're going home, in prison, like now, here comes the riffraff, here comes the problems, here comes not only from some other inmates, but even corrections officers, staff, like pushing the buttons, trying to get you in trouble. Like there was so many things that I was so worried about, right? And then even getting him, okay, it was like walking a thin line, because I'm asking for him to leave this minimum security camp, right, to go into the county jail. And what I know about the county jail is that it's like a third world country. It's unclean, it's unkept, it's overcrowded. It's the food, it's freezing cold is another thing that I hear about it. Like there aren't enough beds, people are just sleeping on floors, and it's just total chaos, right? But this is all a part of the process. And he's proven, right, to not really be guilty of this crime. But we got to step through all of these processes and through all of that. Like, okay, now this is the wear and tear on his body, the stress of all of this. We're busy right this second. Bye. And all these things that that are stressors on his body, on his physical, on the mental, and then being there, like he'll say he got there on a Wednesday, he didn't get out until the next Tuesday. He literally survived on bread and water. So when I actually saw him again walk up out of there, he probably was a good 10 or 15 pounds lighter than what I had last seen. And it's like they don't care. And then in this bail hearing, it was like, okay, we're gonna set this amount for bail, and he's gonna have an ankle monitor, and but he was allowed to come to New York. And so I'm so grateful for for that in itself, because he could have been still required to sit in Cuyahoga County. Going to pay that bail for him felt like paying a ransom for a kidnap. You kidnapped him all those years ago, and now you give me the luxury of paying to get him home. And now he's still not free, right? Not free because he's on this ankle monitor. And so there's a little, very little things that we can do, and we, still gotta be tracked and so on and so forth. But it's like you're not innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty. He wants to show you his ankle monitor here. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm sure they know what it looks like. And even that was a push. That was really me canvassing that justice center and having to start Friday before his Monday hearing. Because they told me it would be at least a week before he could receive this GPS tracking document. And it was like, I just couldn't take no for an answer. I couldn't hear not one more day with all of everything on his side. Like, where is the consideration for the human life? They just really don't care.
I want to add this, Aisha. And he's innocent. This is how they treat an innocent man. A man that the judge has even said is innocent. That he don't feel that he feels that the government star witness lied, not trustworthy. That he feels that the evidence was withheld. So all of this to an innocent person, which means that anybody walking down the street, this can happen to you. Not just Dwayne Brooks, because keep in mind, Dwayne Brooks was in New York when this crime was committed. He has witnesses to say he was in New York when this crime was committed. He had documentation to say that he was in New York when this crime was committed. So this is a man that wasn't even in the state. So don't say, well, hey, he was just, and I know we misspoke earlier, but, he wasn't nowhere around. So you don't have to be with nowhere around for them just to come pick you up and somebody to say, hey, yeah, he did this and he done that and then he done this. And it determines how bad they want you in jail. But they already got the person that's talking in jail. They just want another body.
Yeah.
Mr. Hayes.
You hear all this. I mean, listen to everything everybody's saying. This is the 21st century. You would think we're in some bottom barrel, low scumbag of a country, less than a third world. This is America. This isn't a third world country. This is supposed to be the cream of the crop. These are the same people that goes to each and every other country in Africa and around the world and chastise them about their human rights in prison. These is the same people that does this. And it's unbelievable. Let the people out. Oh, you wrong. You caught our citizens in Iran spying or whatever. You got an innocent man. And this is the American, and it's sad to say that, hey, this is the American way. With liberty and justice for some. It's sad. And we are talking about America in the 21st century, not some third world country. And again, the hypocrisy in them about how they go around the world promoting this stuff, and they're the worst of the worst. And what makes them the worst is because they're hypocrites. They're hypocrites. That's all I want to shed some light on. But go ahead, Mr. Parks.
Mr. Parks, how you doing?
Man, I'm well, man. Man, so much to say, right? First of all, man, I can't stress how important it is, right? And this is what I was talking about before we went live, right? The importance of, first of all, like the mental fortitude it takes to get through time in prison, the physical fortitude, like it takes a lot of strength, but it's not without consequence, right? We do suffer from trauma, right? And that trauma is called post-traumatic stress disorder, which many of us go undiagnosed, right? So just imagine, Kevin, if it was us serving all that time and we didn't commit the crime, right? So I wasn't innocent of my crime. I might not have been guilty of what they found me guilty of, but you know, I committed crime. So it wasn't the same, right? It wasn't the same. Coming home after 34 years for something that you didn't do has to be extremely traumatic. It has to be something. I'm surprised they haven't put you with, you know, counselors, therapists, right, to help you with this, to help you transition back into society. And another thing, right, being from Virginia, we had what they release us on our own recognizance, right? If the crime is not, if it's petty, we go before a magistrate judge and they be like, all right, well, I'm gonna let you go on your own recognizance. They don't have to charge you money, right? So I don't know how Ohio is set up, right? But it's surprising to me that they even charged you a bond, right? Being that you are, you know, someone who has been found to be innocent and in the process of being vindicated in that way, right? They could have just let you go, right? They wanted to cause your family further, like if that hasn't been enough over the past 34 years, because there are underlying things that you know, like that have affected your family, like that's not on the surface, right? Like let's just say I've been thinking as you were talking, right? Scenarios, right? While your mother and your sister and everybody was gunning for you, how innocent you were, but you're gonna have family members who in the background saying, "Are they still putting up a fight? They know he did it." You know what I'm saying? Like that's just family. That's just how it is. That's how people in the community are. They won't say it in your face, right? So there's damage that's been done on the subconscious level, right? That you can't see, right? So they don't take all those things into consideration when even after vindication, man, like the damage is done. Like man, I don't care what you give me. Like the damage is done. You can't correct certain things. It's people like you say aren't here anymore. They left this earth thinking, you know, they might have thought that you were guilty, you know, like subconscious, like you know, below the surface, that is, right? But it's just certain things you can't fix. I don't think they can't fix this. This can't be fixed. They can try, they can do what they can. And I hate Cleveland now. I've never been there, but I hate that place. That's the type, like I would never step foot in Cuyahoga County in my life, ever, never going there. Right. I'm really hesitant about going to Ohio. You know what I'm saying? After this, right? Like that's
Listen,
just how I
they
am.
got
I
a,
don't like
they got a
Texas.
thing here, Mr. Parks. They got a thing there in Cuyahoga County, Cleveland, and probably some other parts of Ohio, but they got a thing there where you would be considered an OTN. You know what that stands for?
OTN. Official, I don't know. What's the OTN?
I was considered an out-of-town nigga.
Oh,
Put it on him.
wow. OTN.
That's how
They really say that?
That's how they get down.
You know, it's not
Wow.
only Ohio that feels that way. You know, when I was going to trial in West Virginia, they were saying, "Hey, we didn't grow up with him." You know, that's on him. We didn't grow up with him. We don't know him. You know, and so whenever you're definitely at a disadvantage if you go to another state and you're having to face the judicial system from another state. We already know, and we spoke about this before, how people are today's society are this court system is allowing people to trade people. It's like trading cattle, so to speak.
Yes.
You know, they'll say, "Hey, I'll give you, if you give me this person, I'll let you go." You know, so it's like I'm giving him up for my freedom. You know, so people have an incentive to put it on somebody. Unfortunately, that somebody's going to be that OTN or it's going to be that person from out of state. It's not going to be that person from there. They're going to, you know, a private, you know, but I say that, you know, this is definitely a situation where everybody needs to know, and this is why we had this show, Dwayne. We definitely love hearing what you have to say. Might have to make a part two so you can get it all out, you know, because I don't think you got it all out yet. And I want you to get it all out of the system.
I did.
You know, and also I wanted to hear definitely it didn't only affect you. It definitely affected you, but it didn't only affect you. I liked it, the fact that Aisha and your nephew was able to express how it tore apart their life as well. You know, so it was more than one person. And we hear this, but we don't, you know, a lot of people take this for granted or or they'll say, well, hey, they just, that can't be true. They don't incarcerate just one person goes to jail. They
Yeah.
incarcerate the whole family. The whole family, the children, the grandchildren, even the dog move different. So it's going to be, as you say, a long process, but you have to take it one day at a time. And we have to do, as Dion that's on the show watching, you're saying, and the other brothers that's been in, we got to continue to support each other in this journey. Because there's things I still go through, and I've been home 7 years. I don't like to be around nobody. I'm like your nephew. I don't like being in groups. I don't like going to places where I just don't feel comfortable like that no more. So and sometimes I'll pick up the phone and I'll call Kevin and we'll talk for hours, just like we walking that track. Or I'll definitely call Maurice like we walking that track. This is what we're here for. We have to support each other. I call Kevin Carlos, and everything that we do, we pull each other along. Because we know we are on the same journey and we're trying to travel the same road. Regardless if we've been in or not. Got Lisa here. She's in that as well. Aisha, we bounce things off of each other. Aisha's tremendous help. But to collectively, and Sasha and Matthew, collectively, that's how we win. If we stay divided, we don't stand a chance. We don't stand a chance. We have to come up with, as you say, eventually you're going to put your plan in effect. Just know you got our support. It ain't something you got to do by yourself. You got our support. And any resources that any of us have, they're extended to you. We ain't worried about you committing no crime because you're not a criminal. You ain't never committed a crime. You see what I'm saying? So we ain't got to worry about you taking our resources and committing no crime. So you got our support, bro. Whatever it takes to make that transition easy for you and your family, you have our support.
I want to interview him on my radio show. I got a national radio show. It's Versatile Radio.
Set it up.
W.
Set it up.
WD. Look, I definitely, even though my show ain't even about that, I'm gonna use my platform to talk about what I want to. That's it's my show. So yeah, I definitely want to interview you, man. I get the information. Yeah, we want to shed some light on this, man. And I got a few other platforms that if I can get you on podcasts, radio shows. We want it. I see now, right, that you're ready to fight, right? Like the fight not over. And I was wondering, like, how's he gonna be? Is he gonna want to just go just spend time with the family? Is he gonna engage? Right now, I see after your comment, you're ready to engage, brother. So yeah, we here to help you engage. So yeah, I definitely want to have you
I
on the
will
show.
say though, it is a process and everything in moderation, because it is a time where he does have to really focus on just reacclimating his family. He's got 3 children, he's got 4 grandchildren, right? But at the same time, things like this, I feel like, are therapeutic for him.
Absolutely.
So this work and speaking out like this is a form of therapy if he doesn't do it in the conventional way. And no, they have not set up anything for him or connected him to any resources. It is literally, we allowed your family to pay this ransom to take you wherever, and whatever happens, that's on you. There's zero support, right? Thank God he has a family. I was always under the impression that, if you are going to get a bond, it should at least be based on who you are, what you make, something affordable, under normal circumstances, right? Outside of just some crazy. But okay, this man has been gone for 35 years. They let him come home. He doesn't even have a picture ID. They didn't even give him a state ID. They let him walk out of that place and he doesn't even have a picture ID. So there are a lot of, we're on ground levels, and you know what? Everything, this is God sets everything up. Everything that's meant for evil, for your downfall, is going to work out in your favor when God's favor is on you. When his hand is on you, it will work in your favor. It will work to your greater good. And I will say that, this ankle monitor, this time just to really be able to be at home, that's a blessing. It's a blessing because he hasn't been able to be home. Maybe they thought, oh, we'll restrict him, and you're going to look at it like a restriction, but it's about perspective, right? This isn't a restriction. We got 3,000 square feet to to get around. We got a whole fenced in yard. We're good. You know what I mean? It's better than anything that they ever provided, and they haven't set anything up where, for him to really reacclimate. It will be all resources that
I don't need them. I got y'all.
his family and his support system has put together.
And my sister is concerned about me, and I understand my mother's concerned about me, my dad's concerned about me, and thank God they're still alive. Alhamdulillah. But I want you people to know, and I try to tell them, like, I told them from the beginning. Nobody understood what I was saying. I said, I had tried everything. I mean, everything up under the sun that I could think of that came to me, that came across my view. I tried it. I did it. Nothing worked. I couldn't get no assistance. So when this happened, I told everybody, I said, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than all of us. I told them. Last night, and for the last few days, I've been out 5 days. And when I got out, I went in the store, the store at the gas station, and I bought some energy drinks. I don't know nothing about what's what, but I bought some C4 energy drinks. And they say, oh, yo, you can't drink those. They'll do this and they'll do that and they'll do this. And I'm trying to tell them, okay, I understand you. I ain't gonna drink no more, but I know that that's not gonna happen to me. I'm not going nowhere until Allah say I got to go. He didn't bring me this far to take me out.
Yeah.
I got work to do. And I can multitask. They're concerned about me. I need time, but I can multitask, yo. I'm ready to work.
Let me share this with you. Brother.
Don't hold back. Let's roll.
Okay, let me share this with you, though, brother. I understand their concern, and I'm going to tell you why. 2017, well, before then, I came home in 2015. And I'm going to say this because Amanda and Sasha had their hand up for a while, and I want them to be able to say what they have to say. But I want to share this with you. Their concern is in the right place because in 2015, I came home. When I came home from jail, I went to prison when my son was 5 months old. So my son, like your nephew, only know me from in prison. And that didn't deter me from being a father and doing whatever I can do. And we built a relationship in prison and all that. Then I came home. When I came home after serving 21 years and 10 months, my son was in prison. He was in the cycle. I waited for him to come home probably a year or so. And then when he came home, I flew down there. I did what I had to do as a father, and we're doing what we're doing. I don't live where he lived at. I don't regret it, but sometimes it bothers me because 2 years after he came home, he was in a car accident and died. So truthfully, I only had so many years to spend with my son, even after coming home. So even when I came home, I did what they don't want you to do. I came home, I hit the ground, and I started building a reinvention center up in Washington, D.C., where my son was in Georgia and my daughter's in Florida. I didn't neglect them, but I didn't give them the quality time that they deserve, considering I had been going out of their life 20-something years. And now I'm saying, I listen to my son's music because he rap. You know, I look at his clothing line, and this is some of the stuff that I have on this his, and this is a photo of him on the hat that I have designed. You may not be able to see it, but my point is, and take care of that family. We gonna be here. We gonna make sure you do what you do. When you ready to come, we're ready for you to get on these shows. J Love is even saying whenever you have time, she wants you on her show. Carlos Parson, he wants you on your show. Lisa's doing live with you. Maurice, you know, all of us will do things with you. Take care of that family first, man. Because I can't get my son back. You know, I got the Reinvention Center. And now what I'm having to do is make things or dedicate things to him. The books, the programs, and all the stuff that I'm doing, I'm dedicating to him. Take care of your family, bro. Deal with your family. I watched the video when your daughter, you come out of that prison and your daughter hugged you. I watched her talk to that news anchor and say, hey, I had to deal with my medical situation. Not my business to put it out there, but my medical situation, my father behind bars. It's not right for them to come home and still have to wait on you, brother. And I know you mean well, but I just want to share that with you. You know, for whatever me, I want to share that with you, brother. We here.
I appreciate that.
You know, we're here.
The
You know, but
beautiful thing about this new world is we can do a lot of things like this. We can still work and advocate and still be at home.
right.
2023.
You know, and I see you don't know how to work that phone. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get this to Sasha. I ain't gonna let you respond. I think you might have had a cell phone sometime before in another lifetime, because you sure know how to work that cell phone real fast.
Hey.
I came home and had a flip phone for a whole year and didn't want to get rid of it. You
Hey,
with a
listen.
smartphone.
Hey, listen, you know what? It's funny that you say that, because there was cell phones in prison, and I made a conscious decision to never turn one on.
Okay.
I wanted to learn when I got out.
Okay.
I wanted my family, my people to show me. You know, I never took a computer class because I want my family to show me.
Okay.
You know, I want my kids to show me. I want my little sister to show me. I want my nephew to show me. I've made a conscious decision to not do that. And I had the opportunity to do it plenty of times. So it's funny that you say that.
I agree. I didn't get the opportunity to use the phone until I got 90 days close to the door. So I was too scared to use it. So I didn't even use it. You know, it wasn't that I didn't want to. I had one in my hand and was too scared to use it. You know, I hurried up and gave it back because I didn't want to get caught with it and mess with my chances of coming home.
Right.
Sasha Manti, I know you had your hand up for a while, so I know your arm is hurting. So please share what's your comment.
Greetings, greetings, greetings to everyone. Welcome home, Mr. Brooks. We're happy to see you. We're happy to hear you. We're happy to feel you. And we're happy to know that your parents was able to hug you, and the rest of the family was able to hug you. We want to say from Dr. World Group, we were able to, just this past yesterday, we had a hot mic ready for you. No matter how, no matter what, we were ready to go, because we had an anti-violence forum that day. But we made sure everybody knew, as a room of over 30 people, hearing our brothers back in New York, back home and back with family. And so we made sure that everybody knew what was going on. With that said, as we working with Kevin and working with recidivism and everyone here, that is available to you at any time. When we get a mic, we're gonna get it to you. One of the supportive factors of that, we made sure during the time that Aisha was telling us, hey, we're going through a process here, and he's still there. We made sure key people knew, hey, could you keep an eye out, because he's still there and there's no reason why he should still be there. So if anything, if he didn't walk out, we have phone calls to make. We have people to say, hey, this shouldn't be. And so one of those points, we're working with the Friends of African Union, working with the Black Folk Plan and other things. Hey, you're gonna be able to see me. And we told them, and we're talking about representatives from all over the country. And we say, hey, when he's ready, we are ready to work with Kevin and Recidivism Center and you to be able to go to every state and every country talking about this. And you can see my brother finally.
I salute you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Sasha. Thank you both. And I'm ready.
Thank you for your mental fortitude, because it's not easy to be innocent. And they're basically telling you to say you did it for your freedom. You know, to me, people might think it's an exaggeration, but to me, you are our contemporary Nelson Mandela, because you stood your ground. You made sure that you said, no, I didn't do it, and I don't care what you say till I come out this way. Yeah, and now we just got to double step and make sure to secure everything else, to secure your liberty. And that's the most important thing. And basically, this is how we're going to move. Everything that we do is to secure your liberty. I know that you're saying that, you know, you have a mission to complete, but you have to secure your liberty first. And this is what I'm most concerned about.
Indeed.
Peace, brother.
So definitely be calling Kevin and passing on all information to continue supporting that level of work that still continuing needed. Okay.
Yeah.
I say one last thing, and my brother's like, you talk too much. One last thing. And we had this conversation with Kevin before. When you experience, and we're not talking about the sheer years, but you experience time behind bars. The world is going, but when you come out, you realize the world is so slow. It is slower than people realize. It is smaller than they understand when you're coming from a framework of doing the internal work that you've done to strengthen you and to be able to face everything that you face, and to come out and see literally the world think they're going fast, but they're not focused on exactly what they should be doing to go forward. So we understand that speed that you have, that feeling that you have, and we can understand what they're saying to as your family, and we understand what the world is showing you also. Everything has balance, and because you are covered, you all good. So thank you for your time, and we're gonna be quiet now. We're just gonna enjoy your presence.
Okay, thank you.
I like to touch on this here, Dwayne. You know, we are about to wrap this up, but if you would like, the panel would like, we can come back next Sunday and continue this. You know, this is your platform as well. So whatever you want to do, if you want to use this as a therapeutic outlet, it's here for you to do. You know, I mean, you can speak on whatever you want to speak on. You earn and deserve that. You know, I don't think that nobody out there should be more offended than the gentleman that served 35 years behind bars wrongfully. You know, so I don't think there's nothing that can be said that should offend them more than you have been offended, more than your family have been offended. You know, so let me know what you want to do, and it's done. However,
anytime you got room for me,
hey,
and
I
to
mean,
get
you know,
this,
there's no room.
get this
Whenever
out
you want
there
to do it,
to
all
as
you
many
got to do is
people as
say, hey,
possible, many people as possible, I'm with it.
okay. We all gonna respect any decision you make. You know, don't, you know, so please know that first and foremost. You have to make the decisions that you feel is best for Dwayne, like you have been doing all your life. You know, but understand that, you know, we love, respect, admire, and would like to see you as well. You know, I don't want you to do anything that makes you uncomfortable. But I've heard you say you ain't coming to Ohio no more. No more. I'm gonna say no more. I'm gonna go country on you. No more.
I mean,
No.
Right. So,
unless it's absolutely necessary, no, I really don't.
okay.
I mean, we're gonna see if these people will let me. While I got this GPS monitor on, I really don't want to give them another shot at me.
Well, they know it. You know, one thing Sandra McClure said on Facebook, and you'll see it later on, is that, but you know, the ain't gonna place it, and it goes back to what Aisha said. it's a blessing because they know exactly where we at. You
Right.
know, because I say we, well, they know exactly where we at. And I want you to understand that, not understand, remember. And I want you to grasp the type of brothers that you have on this show. Ain't nobody done no less than 15 years. So we all been in the penitentiary, we understand that. And for the ones that's been in, we know you can't come get my buddy and just leave and we gonna stand back and watch you do that because we know you do that to him today and you'll do that to us tomorrow. So you know how we rock, you know how this goes. You see what I'm saying? So by no means do we want to get in trouble, but know that their security is gonna be there.
No, I don't, Mr. Jones, I don't worry about trouble because I'm an open book.
Together and we're running around.
I'm an open book. So I don't worry about trouble. I worry about the BS that they throw in the game.
And I get that. I get that. Whatever decision you make, we're gonna have to support.
I had to call another day. I had to call the sheriff's department because it just was beeping, beeping, beeping. And I call them and they're like, okay, you're good.
We gonna respect whatever decision you make, brother. Understand that there first and foremost. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything that you feel
And
like.
I want to be there for Lisa. So I put it in my, on my agenda. I intended to be there, but after I got out of there, all the stuff I went through, from having to wheel my stuff up to the captain's office and basically make them put me in the hole, and then being in a worse hole because the county jail was worse than being in the hole for the next week or so. When I finally got back on this soil over here, I don't even want to leave no more.
The thing is, what I'm looking at is this here, as I say, I've always looked for alternatives, because when I heard you say that, I started looking for alternatives. I will be lying if I'm saying I would be disappointed not to shake Mr. Brooks' hand. But that's life. We have to do what's best. We can't do what we want. We have to do what's best. But what I am looking at in an alternative is to try to have you on something like this here, a big screen or something like that there, if you don't come, in order so you can address the crowd and everybody that's there. We're going to try to find out if whatever decision you make, you have to let us know so we can try to figure out some other alternative way of making this work. Because you have a lot of people that want to hear what Dwayne Brooks is saying, that would like to hear Dwayne Brooks. And after we get off this, I'm going to show you how many people's watching. I'm looking at my Facebook while I'm talking to you, and this is why you hear me reading and see me turning my head back and forth. And there's a lot of people that's coming on here. I'm going to send you. I'll send it to you tomorrow, and I guarantee you it's about 300 to 500 people that are watching this show right now. And that's a lot of people that's supporting Dwayne Brooks and has been supporting Dwayne Brooks. And then that's no reason for you to feel like you should come. I want you to make the decision that's best for you. Understand that. And then we're going to support that decision. And I know you probably heard that before, that environment you're in. Whatever decision you make, we're going to support. No hard feelings. We're going to still love you. And we know our way to New York, so we know what we got to do, so, and it will happen. It's going to happen soon, in fact. Anything that anybody, if you want to come next week, let's lock this in now. We go ahead you next week, sir.
If you want me.
I told you about that. If you want me stuff, man. You sound like you some kin to Marvin Gaye. You sure singing them love songs if you want me, baby. Or some Sir Charles or somebody. Now we got you, brother. We'll be there next week. We're gonna finish this up next week, do part 2 of this next week. Any last words you would like to say before we close out tonight?
I'll save it for next week. Same time, same bad channel.
Okay. All right. Well, any comments from anybody before we close up last week? Any final questions or anything they would like to say?
I just got one question. Are y'all upstate New York or?
No, we on Long Island.
All right. Okay. Reason I asked because Aisha said 3,000 square feet. You know how much house that is to be in?
Got a big house, so y'all come on up here. Come see me.
3,000, man.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I've been at the house, a beautiful house, extremely beautiful, warm, considerate, giving family. I love them. I love y'all. Aisha, Dwayne, Andrew, your mom, beautiful. I enjoyed myself. I will be back. I'm coming to spend the
indeed.
night. I will be back.
Pack a
Um,
bag next time.
and and thank you. I really enjoyed myself. Hopefully, we I'll see y'all between now and then. Anyway, y'all right here. My sister bought my sister, the doctor, they had an opportunity to meet her. One of these days we have on the show. But that's when I told you Mr. Jones is a professor at Medgar Evers. So she's all she's a part of the Reinvention Center as well as Breaking Silence. So her name is Shari Richardson, and y'all are soon to get a chance to meet her. So it was very inviting and welcoming. Y'all are beautiful people, and I look forward to next week. The show next week.
All right, anybody else have anything, any last word to say? Miss Lisa Riley?
Yeah, yes. I just want to say good seeing you, Dwayne and Aisha and everyone else on the panel. Completely understand if you don't come to the event. I'm coming to New York in due time, so it'll be okay. We're going to do lots of projects together. I believe that.
I'm gonna cry if you don't come. I'm gonna let you know right now. I don't do a whole lot of that, but I'm gonna share the tip. That's what I'm gonna do. And then I'm gonna jump in the car and drive right up to New York and hang out with you. And I know my way out there to Long Island and all that. I used to be in Far Rockaway, so I understand.
Yeah, we're right next to Queen.
Yeah, I know. All right, everybody. I'm going to say everybody have a good night. Our pleasure having everybody tonight. We'll see you again next week with Mr. Dwayne Brooks. Echo Maurice again. And we look forward to hearing from you again, brother. Thank you for giving us the pleasure of spending this evening with you. We definitely appreciate it. As we said before, all the words, the accolades, and the way characteristics we described of you, how we feel about you, we mean that 100%.
Thank you, man.
It's not no bullshit. Excuse my language, but we mean that. So until next week, everybody have a good night, and I see y'all again next week. Same time, same place.
Good night.
Bye, Lisa. Call me.
Good night.